Everyone, and welcome to Obedient Family TV, the program now Hope Alive. Yes, so now good morning, afternoon, and evening, wherever they watch us from. Today we don't carry better things. Come, make we tell on say hope day, and as we don't hear things where they come up from Supreme Court, we don't hear as P2B react for the Supreme Court CTC, the certified true copy of the judgment where they give, the junk of a judgment. We go talk about that very one. I go talk about Justice Joseph Shagbaor, the man where we say, then they call him the bribe taker. The man where we say everywhere for internet and mainstream media, everybody they talk, saying a bribe in the turn. I think where they take sender. So judgment day don't meet him as he don't waka go meeting God. Then we go also come with the within a bio, they arrange for billions, then they spend, made them for do birthday, 61st birthday. We go carry that one come. As in own constituents, hunger, they mama them. And we go bring Wike when don't drink whiskey, come they dance for Abuja. Talk say the protesters when they protest for Abuja, say then they waste their time. All those things, now we they carry come for this hour. And again, this junk of a judgment where Inyango Koro and his gang don't release so na junk. And we go talk about them with our own UC Maxwell and the spending where Tinubu and the cabinet they stream to even feed dog where they work for correctional institute and other this thing. The feeding of dog alone pass waiting then they feed inmates for inside prison. Dog they eat about 800 naira per day. Human beings where they inside prison, they eat less than 800 naira. Anyway, we get plenty things where we go talk, including waiting they come out from Kanu. And not be only me go talk all these things. I get Esther for studio and also our own UC Maxwell. They for Zoom to analyze all the legal issues for the thing where they come out from Supreme Court.
Yes, so greetings, my fellow obedient and wonderful women in Nigeria. So don't carry our choir, come back today. Now, Hope Alive o'clock today. My people, good name is actually and really better than riches and wealth. In all you do, the Bible said, acquire wisdom. But for today, we have come with a story of a man who, after his death, the only thing he's been remembered for is bribery and corruption. Anyway, sit back and join us on this conversation. Welcome.
Yes, so as soon as they join us, I beg, make una like and share, make other obedience worldwide, and well-meaning Nigerians too, make them for like and share, so that the information where we they carry come out as opposition, make it for reach all and everybody wherever they. So please like and share as we then, and also subscribe if you never subscribed before. So make we start with this thing where we say it happen for Supreme Court as in don't release P2B's this thing. So you see Maxwell, I beg make you as you they join us for Zoom now. I want make you for answer us these two things, so analyze these two things for us. This justice where they won't promote go Supreme Court. I don't see say everywhere when I search for this very man name for internet today, the man they associated with bribery. Just like Samani, Haruna Samari and Inko and others, but this man, why is it that he left a legacy of bribery and corruption? Then I want when you finish that one, make you for help us analyze this P2B's certified true copy, because from waiting we they hear from every side, not be waiting them pronounce for inside Supreme Court on that day, no be the same thing then come right. So make you for explain the difference where they for these two things for us. So you see Maxwell, welcome joining us.
Okay, good evening and thank you very much for having me this evening. The passing of nobody celebrates the thing of any person. Nobody celebrates the death of a person, but when a person has caught in the web of evil, celebrating their death. Now, Justice Joseph has had a lot of linkages between his name and a lot of corrupt activities in the judiciary. We talk about issues of bribe taking. We talk about issues of perverting justice, giving judgments that are not favorable or that are not in line with the provisions of the law. Very recently, we saw a justice who has been removed from the courts for giving judgment that is not based on law, that fabricating cases that are not in existence to give people who have paid money to buy judgments. So the issue surrounding Justice Joseph is quite unfortunate. I believe that his family will be in mourning. I share their sympathy, but we must recognize the fact that in the institution of the judiciary, what we focus on is to see that the entire judiciary is rid up of corruption and of bribery and the fraud that already goes in the judiciary. So a lot of stories coming out from the judiciary which are not favorable. A lot of these names, we have the people like Haruna Samani, Inyang Okoro, Emmanuel Ajim, a lot of them. And you begin to wonder what will be said about these people when they pass on. We have this kind of unwritten rule of not speaking evil about the dead. So when people go to the places of burial, we tend to eulogize people even though they've committed a lot of crimes or a lot of evil. I'm not going to say so much about that, but the truth is that during the lifetime of Justice Joseph, he has been caught in the web of corruption, in the web of bribery, in the web of fraud, and he has passed away. I think that lesson, yes, that is the angle I will come from. It should be a lesson for other justices and judges that are on the bench to realize that whatever monies that they are going to receive, whatever juicy offers that they will get to pervert justice, that it is not going to last for eternity. They are only here. And Mr. Kanu, that he was just elevated to the Supreme Court. So if he had sold justice for elevation to the Supreme Court, I'm not saying he did, then we should be rest assured that he will not have the opportunity to enjoy that seat. So same goes for each and every one of them. The entire life is dynamic. It changes from time to time. You may be here today, you may be there tomorrow. So it's unfortunate that he has passed away, but in truth, we cannot mourn for the evil he has done. We can only be happy as left the judiciary, but of course, the issues surrounding your second question, Mr. Khan, can you remind me?
Yes,
I think that is about
question has to deal with
Supreme
the
Court
Supreme
judgment.
Court the written certified true copy of P2B's judgment. But before you go into that, there's a point I want to make with justice that died. Yes, in as much as we eulogize people who has gone, we start towing the line of not just eulogizing them, but going to expose what they have done on it as they meet their own judgment with God. We that have been judging them even before they go to God, we also judge them, so that other people who are in that position, we know that when they do leave, we continue to talk bad about them.
Yes, of course, Mr. Kanu, it is not only during the time of their passing away. While these men are alive, while they are still here with us, we must call out their fraud for what it is. One of the things that every Nigerian should be able to do is to speak truth to power, to be able to tell a particular government, to be able to tell a particular person who occupies offices that what they are doing is an evil to the Nigerian people, and it's a deviation from the provisions of the law. We must learn that even in their death, we should be able to confidently talk about the crimes they committed against humanity. Because indeed, they have been judges during their lifetime in Nigeria. But trust me, they will become litigants who will now go to the court of Christ Jesus, or who will go to the court of our Heavenly Father to go and answer for their own offenses. And they will be rest assured that they will be litigants, and that is where the real justice will be done. If they had not dealt well with their fellow human beings while they were alive, then be rest assured that their own judgments will be weightier than what they have done to man right here on earth. So it's a case of speaking against injustice even while an evil man is alive and even at his death, and to also eulogize a man who has done good during his lifetime and while he has passed away. So it's very, very instructive for us to recognize that. Another thing to talk about, your question about the Supreme Court. I want to say very clearly that what we have seen coming out of the Supreme Court is not a judgment. In fact, there was no judgment that was pronounced by the Supreme Court. What we just saw was a mockery of the judicial system, was an assault on democracy, and we saw men who spat and urinated on justice right at the Supreme Court. Mr. Kanu, I want to tell you that what we saw in the Supreme Court, we saw the Supreme Court use about 3 minutes to deliver judgment in a case of Peter Obi, in a very, very instructive case, a case that is coming before the court for the very first time. And they used about just 3 to 5 minutes to dispense of that case. This is an assault and an abuse. Coming to the certified through copy, it is already pitiable that it had to take the justices of the Supreme Court 40 days before they were able to produce the certified through copy of their judgment, as against the provision of the law, which states that they should provide these judgments in men like this violate the provisions of the law. Who do we run to? Who are we supposed to take the cry to for these things to be corrected? Because we are seeing men who sit in the places of justice deviating from the true tenets of justice and the principles of rule of law. Alpha, please let me reduce. And they deviate from the principles of justice and abuse the very fundamentals of rule of law in Nigeria. It is actually unfortunate that we are seeing this from the courts. And if that Nigerians did not have a kickback against these things, what we would have seen was that there would not be any judgment. There would not be any certified through copy or any written judgment in Peter Obi's case. But because of the people came out, and I want to commend every person who raised their voices against this injustice, that the Supreme Court and the 7 justices that sat on this case threw at our face on the, I think on 26th of October, and gave us what they were calling a judgment, but was indeed an insult and an abuse on rule of law and democracy. It is surprising that Inyang Okoro, who sat as the lead justice in the 7-man panel that had that appeal, will release a single page. Mr. Kanu, a single page. A justice sat in the court, had a case, after hearing the case, determined the case, where 7 issues were raised in that case, and the lead justice wrote a lead judgment in just 1 page. It is actually an insult to our collective intelligence. This shows clear corruption from the judiciary. His judgment was contained in 3 pages. The first page contained the list of the parties that came to the court. The second page contained his actual judgment. And the third page contained the lawyers that appeared before it. So in reality, the main judgment was contained in 1 page. This is an insult, Mr. Kanu, that a concurrent judgment that was written by Uwani was about 41 pages, and lead judgment is only 1 page, as I prefer to call it. This is an assault on democracy, and it is a shame on Inyang Okoro. I say this without any fear or favor, that it is a shame on a lead justice in a case like this, that they failed to address the fundamental issues that were raised. They said that they had resolved issue 1, issue 2, 3, 5, and 6, and 7 in the case of the PDP, and what was left was issue 4. Issue 4 talks about clearly the disqualification of Bola Tinubu and the disqualification of Shetima. But Inyang Okoro refused to address the issues of the disqualification of Bola Tinubu, which borders on the forfeiture of $160,000 for narcotics trafficking and money laundering in the United States. They avoided it and swept it under the carpet. That is what Inyang Okoro did, and went ahead to give us a jamboree. He did not do anything, he did not deliver any judgment, and he definitely did not write any judgment. This is a shame. Remember, Mr. Kanu, that in our petition, or in the petition of the Labour Party, in the petition of Peter Obi, and his appeal at the Supreme Court, he raised 7 issues. At the lower level, at the tribunal level, one of the issues that was very, very fundamental for the court to determine was the presence of 18,088 blood papers that were stamped and signed and certified by INEC and given to Peter Obi and the Labour Party to bring to the court. It is an insult by INEC first. And the fact that the Supreme Court refused to address this issue, none of the 7 justices, I tell you, none of them, from Mwani to Unyangokoro to what's his name, Ajim to Salawa, name them. None of them addressed the issue of 18,088 blood papers that were certified and given to Peter Obi and the Labour Party. Also to mention, there was also the case of 8,123 blank papers. How do you ask INEC to litigate your case in court, and INEC gives you blank papers, 8,123 blank papers, and they put their stamp, signature, sign it, and give it to them to litigate? And the Supreme Court refused to make any mention of this in their judgment. They totally avoided it, swept it under the carpet, tore all the papers that relate to these issues, and threw it into the dustbin. This is an assault on democracy and an insult on the fundamentals of rule of law. This is not a judgment. I don't call it a judgment. This is a rape on justice and on our democracy. I also like to refer you to the case of the 25% in FCT. It was only Emmanuel Ajim that made reference to it. And of course, his ratio, which I found troubling, that we have seen a place like Abuja with its peculiarity. Of course, you are seeing the protest that is rocking Nigeria already, that is rocking FCT Abuja, and the indigenes already asking for a fair share of the monies that are being shared to all the states, and what all the states get as governors, vice president, and deputy governors, and the likes, that they should also get it. And they threw these things to the dustbin. It's unfortunate that we have seen this kind of judgment. How can lawyers rely on this judgment in subsequent case that a lead judgment is just a page? How do lawyers rely on this type of judgment? This is a fraud. Nyango Kuro has committed an assault on our democracy. In fact, he has disrespected the hallowed chambers of the Nigerian Supreme Court, and therefore things should be done about it. I don't believe that we should lay low accepting this type of things, and they will continue to happen. That's why we see judges only interested in collecting bribes, because they know that there is no consequence for their action. They know that nobody punishes them, nobody probes them, nobody asks questions, and nobody removes them from office. And these things continue to prevail. This is actually troubling, and I feel that every Nigerian should raise up their voice and speak up against it. They have to people like us who took out our time to go out there and vote and also request for our mandate.
Okay, quickly, since you're on this very topic, I come across an interview that Kenneth Okonkwo granted. He get waiting in the talk for inside when I know to understand, and I want make you help me understand them. He talk say the people will be say then decide this matter for Supreme Court, say na 7 then day, and out of them then suppose get maybe majority will be saying that the people will be say then give the lead judgment. But he say now only Inyango Koro's lead judgment now in that talk there inside say for the other justices for their own judgment, because they talk say they go do and separate. He say nothing about Peter Obi there inside. Say you can't talk how it can be said and go call and say na majority give that very judgment when they talk about Peter Obi's this thing no even their own. But make we for listen to waiting in talk, make you for understand them well. Let's take a listen to what Kenneth Okonkwo said on a Rise TV interview.
Well, let me confirm that we received the CTC of the judgment. Our legal team alerted us to this. Let me also confirm that the lead judgment as delivered by Justice John Inyango Koro was exactly what he announced at the court. And then, while saying this, it will be important to educate us on what constitutes a legal and constitutional judgment by any court. First of all, the court has no power to insert in its written judgment any decision that it did not announce in the court. And I'm talking about section 36 subsection 3 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. If a court does that, it has egregiously infringed on the fundamental human right of a party to fair hearing. The section provides every proceeding of the court, including the decision of the court, shall be announced in the open court, and that's pronounced. Then, by section 294 subsection 1, every decision of the court must be in writing, meaning whatever you are pronouncing or announcing in the court must have been in writing. And after that, the court becomes functus officio. You do not have any right to add or remove anything on it. I want to point out also that any court that is constituted by more than a judge means that the decision of the court will now be done by majority of the members. The Supreme Court was constituted by 7 judges in our appeal, and the leading judgment was very clear. They said every issue in Obi's case has been, according to Justice Muhammad Lawal Gaba, he said, has been comprehensively, completely, effectively, and totally dealt with in Atiku's case. And there was no reason for them to reiterate anything again. That was what Justice Inyang said. And he even went further to berate the appellants that they ought not to have even brought issue 4, because according to them, in the earlier case of PDP and INEC, they have taken decision. Now, reading the entire CTC judgment of the 7 judges, I was surprised to see some issues in the judgment of 3 justices of the Supreme Court that was not announced in the court. I was there in the court. The issue of forfeiture of $460,000 US, which was proceeds of narcotics. Now, this is the broad way judgment goes. In any judgment that involves majority of judges, they must sit before the judgment day. They will elect the person that will write the leading judgment. And in that leading judgment, all issues must be decided. And it is when more numbers of the judges concur to the issues, that is how leading judgment comes. Now, those 3 judges that wrote the forfeiture issue in their judgment, where did they get that issue from? Because it was never mentioned in the leading judgment. Because you either concur or you dissent. Now, assuming without conceding that they even announced it, 3 justices, they are minority. Because it would have been better they didn't even mention anything about it. So does it mean now that the majority of the judges have now ruled against the 3 judges? So this judgment, as far as I'm concerned, broke every issue of the ingredients of a judgment of a court.
So Maxwell, my question is, say 3 justices of the Supreme Court then talk about the other things where concern this forfeiture and the rest and the drug issue, but the lead judgment no mention them. That is one of the things we say I want make you for dissect a little bit for us. Waiting the thing also mean. Then the second thing when I want make you touch on be say this written certified true copy where them bring come now. We know say law constitution be the electoral law talk say then get whether na 10 days or they are about to bring them, and it take a bit 21 days. But now it don't take them like how many, about more than 40 days is it that Supreme Court can flaunt the law, or they can do as they wish, or they are bound by the rules?
Well, Mr. Kanu, I've stated this earlier on, that what the law or states, after they have delivered their judgment, they put the judgment in writing, that the judgment should be made available within 7 days to all these that are involved, and because the parties need to know what the details of the judgment and how to act upon the judgment. But what I've seen is that the Supreme Court has flouted this provision of the law. Section 294 of the Constitution has been clearly violated by Supreme Court justices. I know I am emphasizing this. These are the highest of a just judge can attain in Nigeria. It means that each and every one of them that sits in office as a justice of the Supreme Court is eligible to be the Chief Justice Federation. So they play very important role in our justice administration system in Nigeria. But we now see these men flouting the provisions of the law. And then I begin to ask, who is supposed to enforce this law? Who? If the courts who are meant to abide by this law interpret this law and make sure that things are done according to the law, are flouting the law, who is supposed to enforce it? So we now see that that is why people have always complained about the leadership of the NJC, the National Judicial Council, because you cannot have a justice of the Supreme Court who is the leader of the NJC and the leader of several judicial bodies who will still sit in panels like this to deliver judgment. They will flout provisions of the law. You cannot take these complaints to them for them to still do it, because a man cannot even be a judge in his own case. But we need to go past these times of corrupt and fraudulent justices who do not care about the express and extant provisions of the law. Going to the issue of lead judgment, I have already stated that before, Mr. Kanu, that is why I'm even concerned with talking about the judgment of the other justices. A lead judgment is supposed to distill its issues. Now, when lawyers come before the court, they bring up issues that the judge or the justices or the judges, no matter the number that they are going to determine. So when they formulate issues, the other party formulates, the second party formulates, and they bring all of those issues. Now, what the judge does is that, or what the justices do is that, they will look at the issues of both parties. And reformulate issues. In the judgment of Inyango Koro did not give us a brief statement of facts about the case. They did not tell us where this case started from, how the case originated, the processes of the case, from which point the case started and where it is now. They did not tell us. Inyango Koro did not tell us in his lead judgment. Also to mention, Inyango Koro did not tell us how the parties have taken the issues, the processes they filed before the court, and how the court is going to consider their arguments. Because the court is also supposed to tell us these are the arguments of party A, and these are the arguments of party B. And after looking at the arguments of party A and party B, we are going to make these conclusions. Inyango Koro did not do this in his lead judgment. So it means that, like I said, there was no a lead judgment. After formulating the issue, is now supposed to address the issues that the judge or the court is going to work with, and then distill them and determine them one after the other. Inyango Koro did not distill issue 1, he did not solve issue 1, he did not do so for issue 2, he did not do so for issue 3, he did not do so for issue 5, and did not do so for issue 6. The issues may be similar, but are not the same with the case of PDP. Issue 4 that he came down to now talk about, issue 4 stands on 2 legs. Number one is the disqualification of Bola Tinubu, and number two is the disqualification of Kashim Shettima. But he avoided the issues of Bola Tinubu and the forfeiture, and only talked about Kashim Shettima. And even when talking about it, he did not address the issue, but told us that we should go and look at the previous case that PDP took to court, for which Labour Party was not a party to it. So, Mr. Kanu, what we are saying is that justice has been sold to the highest bidder. We do not have a judgment. Why they are called concurrent judgment? Now, if you have 7 justices, if there is a lead judgment, the other 6, the other 6 judgments will be referred to as concurrent judgments. They are either agreeing with the lead judgment or taking a different position. As it stands, we don't know what position the concurrent justices, the 6 justices, are taking. Are they agreeing? If they are agreeing, what are they agreeing to? Are they agreeing to a one-page thing that does not have any judgment? And if they are disagreeing, what are they disagreeing to? So the only people that listed the issues was Uwani, and then I think Salawa also discussed the issues of the drug case, the forfeiture of $160,000. But the truth is that their deductions were their personal. We do not know what is a majority position. We don't. There's judgments before all 76 pages document that is not addressing the major issue.
Thank you. The thing where we say even when the thing no matter, we need to know what thing they go on. Say even the highest court where there for Nigeria, the things where they do in no jail at all. And now that one a serious concern where this very coalition where they want to do between PDP and NPP, and if Labour Party join them, you go they good make way for the address the issue, because now waiting APC do with other political parties before they come oust PDP. So we need to start doing something to sanitize our courts, as they done they put another 11 new justices of the Supreme Court to come. But quickly, before I allow you to work come out, it gets one matter when I want make you for chook your mouth, Maxwell. Nigeria prison, they spend more to feed dogs than inmates. People will be saying they for prison, will be saying they never even confirm whether they commit crime or not, awaiting trial. The Nigerian Correctional Service, where they call prisons, said he spends 750 per day to feed an inmate, 750 naira. Then he says that he spends 800 naira daily on feeding the dog in his service. But make you hear the matter as they take talk, and make you not be say now we just they talk and for here. Make we get that very video in, make you hear what in them talk. How dog they feed for prison more than the inmates. People where they never convict myself. Dog they feed past them. And na billions then they collect for the budget. This country, they scam they too much. Let's take a listen.
Lawmakers was in total disbelief on Thursday. Revelations from the Controller General of Nigeria Correctional Service that guard dogs in the service of the agency are better fed on daily basis than inmates. Said while the agency spends 750 naira to feed an inmate per day, it spends 800 naira feeding a dog in its service. According to the agency, the daily food ration for inmates was increased from 450 naira to 750 naira by the last administration, and that his request to have it reviewed upward to 3,000 naira per day is currently pending before the Minister of Interior, Olubunmi Tunji.
We have written a letter from the service to the Honourable Minister requesting the upward review of freedom of inmates Nigerian Correctional Service from 750 to 3,000 naira per inmate per day. So we are looking for assistance from the two sessions.
In all, the sum of 22 billion naira is spent on feeding inmates, dogs, and officers in training in 2023. But it is an amount considered to be grossly inadequate The federal lawmakers are, however, more worried about a daily food ration of 750 naira for an inmate, questioning why more budgetary allocation should be made for dogs than humans.
An unconvicted Nigerian who is presumed innocent in law, you feed that innocent who is presumed innocent with 750 naira a day at 250 naira per meal. And then a dog, which may be a Nigerian dog or an imported dog, you feed the dog with at least 800 naira a day. So a dog is better fed in Nigeria prison than an innocent Nigerian who is held in your custody. Whether it is the intention of government to appropriate more money to feed animals than to feed human beings. And that is a major policy issue for us.
There are over 81,000 inmates in correctional centers across the country, with more than 53,000 of them awaiting trial.
So Maxwell, my question be say, this country where we dey, for all the areas now, just to scam budgeting, budget padding, how many billion then call for this place where they talk say they want? So my question is, are they taking Nigerians for granted? How can animals feed more than human beings that are not even convicted in prison?
Mr. Kanu, if you listen to Adam Soshomole very clearly, you would hear that he said that they spend, that dogs are being fed more than innocent Nigerians. He said more than innocent Nigerians. Now, I would address the issue of your question, but you see, even the inmates in the Nigerian prison, in Nigerian correctional service, like they like to call it, which the name does not even change how they operate. We have innocent people that are languishing in cells. Tons and thousands of innocent people in Nigerian prisons and Nigerian correctional services around Nigeria. Now, it now begs to ask an innocent Nigerian, by the time you divide the cost of feeding by 3 times a day, that is, you are talking about serving a prisoner a meal of 250 naira. In which part of Nigeria do you eat a good food in today's Nigeria with 250 naira? But a dog instead eats for about, say, 275 naira or going to 300 naira per meal. Meanwhile, a Nigerian in the prison eats for 250 naira. It's insane, it's crazy. And the fact that a dog even eats probably once a day, it's actually crazy that we are hearing these things coming out of our government. And these things have been there. It's not just happening now during the time of Bola Tinubu. It has been there. The Nigerian prison services have not been doing a good job with the inmates that are there. They are not being fed well. They are not being taken care of. In fact, when you go there, I don't know if you visited any prison before, Mr. Kanu. When you go there and you see the kind of places they stay, where they sleep, you see the kind of restrooms, toilet, and bathrooms that they use, that they are using. And irrespective of the fact that some of them may be criminals, we have innocent people there, but they should be treated well. If you must keep people locked up in a place, they should be treated well, or you allow them to roam about the streets and fend for themselves. And we need to do better than these things. And you begin to ask, when you look at these budgets, how many dogs are in the prison? How much is being allocated for dogs, and how much is being allocated for humans? You will find out that these are just schemes that institutions like this use to collect monies. They continue to waste the collective common of the people, and nothing is actually being done. You still see people die off in prisons due to malnutrition. Some of them cannot treat themselves. There was a case of a person who was in the prison, and even the health facility in the prison cannot even treat them. So it's a problem, and we need to look into this and to make sure that we correct these anomalies in our system. because even the provision of the law is clear under chapter 4, the fundamental rights of every person. No person, even though the person is held in the comfort of a prisoner, should be dehumanized. Every prisoner in Nigerian prisons have a fundamental right. Even it is there written in the Banjul Charter, which Nigeria is a signatory to, which has been domesticated. The fundamental human right contained in the Constitution. No prisoner should be made to be treated in this manner or to be dehumanized. But it's unfortunate that the Nigerian government is doing so. But we need to do better as a people.
Okay, Maxwell, thank you very much on that very well. We'll get somebody will be for Zoom where one ask Maxwell question Oluwatosin. So in don't day there since and I don't hold him talk saying one ask you one or two questions. But I will want you to be quick, Oluwatosin, because we don't have time. Our time don't work. So please ask your question to Maxwell. You can unmute. You can unmute.
Hopefully you can hear me clearly.
I can hear you clearly. Maxwell,
thank you very much for the opportunity. Mr. Maxwell, thank you for everything we do for our country. God will bless you. So my question be say, now we be say, it take us energy to cry, come outside, say, may justice Ian Okoro release the judgment for Peter Obi matter. Now, this guy quickly do one or two things, write judgments, refer us to Aku's case, showing that he don't even give judgment for Peter Obi's case. What do you think say, you think say it will be better avenue to ask for maybe make that case be reviewed again so that we will get judgment for this matter, because we know say most of the things we then even deliberate on, they know even Professor Batam. So what do you do as Nigerians to make sure we get justice for this matter? Thank you.
Well, the thing is, when it comes to the judiciary and the style at which the judiciary operates, it's unfortunate who comes to the current is that the person is treated like a hooligan and is sent away court. We saw how
be like say a network don't buy for that very site. We don't know how the thing take they happen, but we believe say Maxwell if he come back on answer that very question, because the question still they deal with P2B's certified true copy from the Supreme Court.
For a review is being treated like an outcast, who is a stranger in the system. The person is in fact shunned, the person is thrown out of court, and the person is given a huge fine. It happened in the case of, I think it was in the case of Omeria, that is the Rivers case, where they had approved the court for a review, and the court slammed them with a fine. The same thing has been happening in Nigeria. So how can we do this? I believe that we should actually approach the court once again to review the actions of these justices, probe these justices that sat on this case, this 7-man panel led by Justice Inyang Okoro and his cohorts. They should be probed and asked questions. This is no way to write a judgment. I've never seen this in my life of studying law or being in the legal profession. I have never in my entire life of reading judicial precedents come across such an instance. So we can probe this. We can write a petition to the NGC to probe this or call the attention of the. But let us look at it. If you are approaching the court for a review, currently we have just about, I think, 10 justices or so that are before the Supreme Court. If you approach them for a review, who is going to sit with you? it is the same justices that sat over the judgment that is going to do it. That's why we talk about the ineptitude that goes on, the corruption and fraud that goes on in the judiciary. A Supreme Court that is supposed to have at least 21 justices today have just about 9 or 10 justices. Okay, recently we've seen a list that are putting some other people to the Supreme Court. But these same people are the same people that had the case at first instance. Haruna Samani his name has been submitted to be taken to the Supreme Court. Stephen Ada, who also sat at the tribunal, his name has been taken. Are these the same people that are going to sit over a panel to review this case? So these are the realities that we are facing today, and I think that there is better that we can do to get the judiciary to answer to some of these things.
Okay, thank you. I hope this answers your question. Review where you had do to Supreme Court since 2019. That one this year, just few days ago, now they decide and waiting then decide, then talk say they very vexatious and then call hammer Michael Zekome with 40 million naira fine. So make we just accept, for me, make we accept our own destiny as the opposition and plan well for the next 3 years where they come. There is no way. We succeeded more than expected within 8 months, 9 months. And I know if we prepare very well for 3 years, we can get back the new Nigeria that P2B is talking about. Make we stop that one for here because our time seriously don't give us signal. And this very signal make we vanor they go. But the next thing when I want bring come now waiting to happen for FCT. So make I come back to studio because the person where there was me for studio now, I don't they do me since. Maxwell, thank you for the this thing where the time where you give us. Maxwell and our own analyst will be say anytime where we say we call him, he they answer us and he go come give us the thing as we want them, and they reach all obedience here as all of them they watch worldwide. So thank you very much, Maxwell. So as we come back now, we see say Maxwell what in then they call him for the minister of FCT Wike. We see saying go drink whether na babu or been a whiskey for inside Wajabi Amila's office, can they dance on your mandate, whether you no want made them sack and come out for there because of the protest where they go on. I think come out from there myself, in go address press conference. But make we see how waiting happen for inside Chief of Staff office, and if una look, una go see one jug where they like say na tea jug. But if una look the jug well, be like say na whiskey na in the inside because the way wherein they take the act, it be like say in they under the influence of something. Let's take a look.
Jagaban. On your Monday, we shall stop Jagaban. On your Monday, we shall stop Jagaban. On your Monday, on your Monday, on your Monday, we shall stop Jagaban.
Yes, sir.
On your Monday, on your Monday, we shall stop.
In the Chief of Staff's office. Well done. Very nice. I'm glad to see this.
When talk say na cancer mandate. He talk say APC are cancerous. Say what go carry am enter APC. Now in the dance, they is really high on something. Make on a write for comment section what you think saying they high on. But this week really need to be dealt with in this our Nigeria that we are talking about. We need to really deal with him because he really does not realize that Nigerians are suffering right now for him to come dancing when he is scattering properties everywhere in Abuja, grabbing people's land and all of that. What he did in Rivers State, he thinks that what he's going to do there. But I trust the FCT people that they are going to do the needful.
Well, exactly, Mr. Kanu. Say, yes, on Wike, they feel untouchable. He's feeling so arrogant and proud because he thinks he has a judiciary, the same judiciary that is committing so many atrocities everywhere around the country. He thinks he has them in his pocket. But anyway, what actually in this country is revolution. Because these criminals politicians don't have to be in power, because all they are after is, in fact, what we just saw now was the outcome, was the consequence of grab it, snatch it, and run away with it. Authority and power snatching is even more than an armed robber. But all I see in Wike right now is depression and frustration.
I think that's what's going on.
Yes, exactly.
Let's quickly look at, I see women carrying placards in Kanu State, and it seems like, I mean, women are more proactive in this fight in Kanu State.
People are actually beginning to, they have opened their eyes. They are really demanding for justice. They are really calling back and coming out to take back their country. Just like what we saw in, or where we are going to see in Kanu State, where women are crying out for justice over the judgment they gave to them on the past government.
These are members converged on the ancient city of Ibadan to express displeasure over recent political developments in Kanu State, which they say, if not properly addressed, could snowball into a socio-political crisis.
God is not a wicked God. He has given it to Abba. He gives to whom he wishes to give. Mashallah, yeah. He gives to Manyasha'u, his Manyasha'u, he gives to who he wills. So he wills to give to Abba Gida Gida. Let Kanu be okay. I am a born of Kanu. I am from Kanu, and I know what Kanu is. If they dare take that from Abba, Kanu will never have peace again. And if Kanu will not have peace, the whole Nigeria will not have peace. And if not, the whole Nigeria will not have peace, then the whole West Africa will not have peace. So please, I am pleading on behalf of as a Kanu State indigene, that they should maintain the status quo.
Sure, because of what happened in, like she said, in Jos, in Kaduna, so that's why people are losing interest. But we are pleading, we are calling on to the president to look into it. This is all about two people fighting like Konkosu and Ganduji. It is about individuality. We are the ones suffering. So please, they should stop. They should stop. We want peace. And Mr. President, we are urging on you to please do something.
Other major areas of discontent for these aggrieved Nigerians are government's unnecessary travel expenses, high unemployment, alarming insecurity in northern Nigeria, perceived truncation of the will of the masses through suspicious judicial pronouncements. They urge the judiciary to remain apolitical by ensuring that the voice of the ordinary Nigerian is amplified.
If judiciary can do justification for us, elected governor of Kano State, Abba is the choice of Kano State people. Abba is the choice of Kano State people, and especially those